with this diploma, you can put 500 works in your Instagram bio.
New gym time. 513 Strength LLC. Let's go.
Hang your head against the wall and then come on. Hang your head against the wall and then come on. See, I'm a 90s nigga, Outcast and Missy. I motivate rap committees in the inner city. Real fitness over here, it ain't a 9 to 5. You ain't trying to be a boss, we ain't eye to eye. For the record, this uncut, no edit. In bold letters, you can do it better than come get it. Everybody tell your city I'ma pull up. Big bars over here, get a full cup. I got my block with me now, you gon' do what? I tell them the world is cold, baby, no cap. Run up on me, whole ass, 16's whole ass. Listen,
bang your head, son.
Bang your head against the wall. Come on.
What's up, guys? It's Johnny Candido of Candido Training. So, it is 2020. Now for this video, as you can tell by the title, I'll be talking about my 2020 goals. But first, what I want to talk about is generally the structure of these videos. Is I'm going to make one video a week for at least 4 videos, and then we'll see from there. I think that's a reasonable starting point. But one of my biggest inspirations is Sean Noriega. So what I want to do is I'll link in the description his channel, and I want you to say, comment this, just spam it all in his latest video. Say, thanks for the HQ inspiration. Now the reason why I say he's inspiring me is just because the style of his videos is really similar to what I want to do here, where I don't have a cameraman and I'm just updating you on my training. And then what I'm going to do is add one topic per video. So in the comments below, leave a question and I'll pick one randomly. It won't be a full Q&A format, and I think this will be much more doable. And I'll put a direct timestamp to when I answer the question. Now to get into this week of training, obviously you just saw I hit a squat PR of 595 pounds. After that, I got the flu. Now I was actually one of the first to get the flu amongst fitness influencers, you could say, because I got it before 2020 actually arrived. I got it on right the day before New Year's, and I didn't even watch TV or anything. It was that bad. I lost 8 pounds in 4 days. So basically the goal of this week was just to retain my strength, to get it back. That's why on the squat, all I did was just light work and right away working up to triples, then 5s, then 4s. And overall, I'm back in the place that I need to be in. For the bench press, I'm focusing on my arch, which basically I'm focusing on having my feet further out forward, which again, Sean Noriega actually recommended this, and driving the upper back rather than flexing the glutes, just using the quads to drive horizontally. And I find overall that this is just really helping my arch, since I looked back at pictures from 2019 Raw Nationals, and I basically benched 363 pounds totally flat backed. Now finally for the deadlift, this was the lift where I was the happiest, because I pulled 560 plus pounds with a beltless pause deadlift, and I have not been training this lift seriously since Raw Nationals. So this was an extremely good result for me relative to the sickness and not training it that much. So I'm going to push, hopefully within a few weeks, for a PR on this lift, which would be around 650 pounds, since my best is 639 pounds. But in case you didn't know, the meet that I am preparing for is the Arnold Classic. So I'm back on, it's like 2015 again, where I'm back doing nationals in the Arnold. And I qualified for it, but I signed up for the Raw Challenge, which is a little bit different than the Pro American. So for those who are interested in going to the Arnold or watching the stream, I am in the Raw Challenge. Last year I checked and the streams had exactly equal views. And the goal is going to be, of course, to push it a little bit to where the one I'm in gets more views. But no, seriously, I want to just be in the most viewed streams. I don't have to be the main player. You know, the Raw National stream was the most viewed video on, or is currently, in the USAPL's history. And I just want to constantly just slide in there. But to round out the training commentary, the wide stance snatch grip deadlift, I'm also hitting beltless. It went poorly initially, but then by the second workout, it's already picking up steam. So that's most likely a sign that just the work capacity has to develop since I hit that last.
That was easier than 3 days ago, because when you're lifted in the gym, you should expect some goddamn progress. You put this thing to it, and that thing sometimes will go, okay, yeah, you can lift more.
My goal specifically for the wide stance snatch grip deadlift before the Arnold Classic is to hit 510 pounds for a set of 7. That would definitely show that my posterior chain strength is stronger than ever, flat out, regardless of technique. Because when I pulled 672 in a meet, I did 467 for a hard set of 7 with wide stance snatch grip deadlift. And then I've gradually leveled up that lift to where I've hit 500 when I've pulled 694. So again, it's just a matter of tracking what correlates to your competition lift and then just pushing it in very small increments. I've mentioned that many times. So now I keep everything very, very consistent. In the meantime, I just want to hit 450, maybe even have to hit 425 for a set of 10 beltless. Okay, so now with the week of training wrapped up, I also want to mention the fact that the 7-week mark begins next week from the Arnold. So it just so happens to work perfectly where I can just get back into condition, and then my 7-week program may come out in 2020, which is my typical approach. Now I'll need to fine tune a few things for the general public, but for myself, it's locked into place. I know exactly what I want to hit and exactly which spots I want to push. And speaking of which, let's talk about the goals now for 2020. For the Arnold Classic specifically, I want to total 1670. That is the big mark that's on my mind. And for that, I would need to add 5 kilos to my squat from Raw Nationals, which I already did. I would need to add 2.5 kilos to my bench from Raw Nationals, which I already think I had at that meet. And then the only lift where I'm not 100% certain is the deadlift, because I obviously grinded 694 at Raw Nationals to the point where it's not so clear that I have 5 kilos left in the tank unless I get stronger, of course, and that's the goal. But overall, I have enough time to build just actual strength and not benefit just from pushing a lift a little bit harder in exertion. I flat out have to be able to grind and have to add 10 pounds to my PR. I think I can do it, but again, that's one of those things where it's just a little bit more of a wild card, whereas the rest, I actually think I pretty much have in the bag as long as I don't mess up execution on meet day. Now, the cool part about this means I will squat 600 and I will pull 700 for the first time in my life at the same meet, at the Arnold Classic, at one of the biggest meets, probably the most hyped meet there is in terms of just actual excitement at the venue, given it's such a huge event. The funny part too is a 705 deadlift just doesn't matter as much to me, and I think that's one of the biggest benefits going into this meet is that it's not going to psych me out because it's just either a 2.5 kilo or 5 kilo chip from my last meet. The meets before I chipped 2.5 kilos, 2.5 kilos, 2.5 kilos. So it's just another lift to me. At this point, I have no other choice but to pull 700 just in order to progress by 2.5 kilos. And I will mention that I usually put a cap on these things. So probably the best total I'd even consider would be around 1680 because I am considering squatting 606 at the Arnold. That is the heaviest I would consider, and that would be the one lift that would really be ahead of pace because that would be 10 kilos from Raw Nationals. When again, 5 kilos really was the minimum goal, but I'm looking to outdo my gym best. I'm not gonna just stick to the plan that strict. But again, 606, I think could be doable. 600 will be my conservative number. Now for the bigger picture goals for all of 2020, I want a 1,700 pound total. That is what I want at Raw Nationals, most likely, because it is later in the year. And the crazy part is I actually think it's doable. And it's pretty insane to me, because if I were able to do that, then I would have totaled 1,600 for the first time in my life, and then 1,700 for the first time in my life the very next year. I'm not sure there are many people who can say that they've done that, especially when the difference from 1,500 to 1,600 took 4 to 5 years. Also, a fun fact to think about is John Hack had the drug-tested 181 record when I first shouted him out, because I remember people were debating who's more impressive, John Hack or Brett Gibbs, and John Hack had a 1708 total. Like I said, drug-tested 181 with a deadlift bar. It's just a really weird thing for me to think that my goal now is what used to be the flat-out world record in favorable conditions. It just shows how, obviously, how far the game's advanced, since now John Hack's totaling 2,000 pounds. But I'm catching up to 2014 John Hack, that's all I'm saying. Other than that, an exciting thing is that I am coaching Carson Allen, who is going to 2020 IPF Worlds in exactly the same position I was in. He's going as an 83 kilogram junior. So I think that's just kind of poetic that in 2015, that was the last time I represented Team USA as an 83 kg junior. And exactly 5 years later, I get to coach the next generation to represent the US. Okay, that pretty much covers everything. I will see you guys in 1 week. I can tell you don't believe me right now. Yeah, I see the doubt. You're saying, no, he's not gonna do it. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Look. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm gonna upload a video in 1 week, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Like the video, make sure to subscribe.
The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, who comes short again and again.